So we are going to go ahead and get started. Happy Sunday if you're joining us on the webinar, and happy whatever day it is for you if you happen to be watching the recording. During the webinar, please know that your microphone will be turned off so I won't be able to hear you, and your camera will be turned off so I won't be able to see you, but you are welcome to use the chat. It's this icon right here at the bottom or top of your screen. To send me a message if you have trouble hearing me or seeing anything on the screen. Today's session will be recorded, so if you don't get something the first time, you're always welcome to listen to the recording a second time around. So this session is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders or rising 3rd graders, and we will spend the next hour today reviewing math and reading that will help you prepare for your end of year tests and get ready for next year. All right, so to get started, we'll do our welcome and our warm up. Then we'll do about 20 minutes of math and take a 5-minute break. And you're always welcome to take a break whenever you need it, but that'll be 5 minutes where we'll all take a break, rest our brains, and then we'll come back and work on language arts. And if you happen to be joining the webinar live, you're welcome to use the last few minutes of our sessions to ask me any questions that you have about your homework. So let's go ahead and get started. So it looks like we have 4 participants joining us here. If you can, please put in the chat your name, what your favorite animal is, and what made you laugh this week. Right? I'm just going to take a moment to let everyone type in the chat. I see we have Emery, Ezra, and Sydney joining us today. Welcome, Emery, Ezra, Sydney. I'm so glad you could make it with us today. Give everyone about 1 more minute to comment in the chat if they would like. And what I will do for this first time around, if you're having trouble finding where the chat icon is, I will turn on your mics. So I've turned on the mic for Emery, for Ezra, and for Sydney. So you all should be able to come off mute if you would like to respond to the warm-up. Oh, we have Ezra's favorite animal is dogs. Emery's favorite animal is cats. Awesome, awesome. Okay, and you're welcome to share anything that made you laugh this week. You can type it in the chat, or you can come off mute and share anything that's made you laugh this week. Oh, Ezra, you scared your dad. Oh no, that would be funny. That would be funny. All right, hopefully you didn't scare him too bad. Sydney's favorite animal is the sloth. I like sloths too. All right, all right. Awesome, thank you all for sharing that. So we are going to move on to the math portion of this. Okay, so we all here, we're in different grade levels, different strengths. Some people don't really like math, but there's an opportunity for all of you to learn something new and help each other out. So as we go through the math, remember to take your time, write things down, draw a picture, and you're always welcome to ask for help. You can type in the chat if you want some help, or come off mute and share your knowledge and help your classmates, other individuals who are on the call today. All right, so I'm going to go to the next slide. So you can see we're going to start with some addition. So there's 3 problems on the screen. And if you can, type in the chat and let me know if you can see the problems clearly. On the left-hand side, we have problems for kindergarten through 3rd grade. In the middle, we have some challenge problems for our 4th graders. And then on the right-hand side, we have a problem for our 5th graders who are on the call. Okay. So I'm going to give everyone a moment to try the problems on the screen. You can start with the ones on the left. Those are a little bit easier, and then see if you can make it all the way to the problem on the right-hand side. So I'm going to stop talking for about 2 minutes and give everyone a chance to work. We'll take about 1 more minute, see if you can solve one of the problems on the screen, and then we'll talk about it together. All right, was anyone able to solve one of the problems that are on the screen? If you were able to get an answer, you can come off mute and tell me which problem you solved, or you can type in the chat and share which problem you solved and what answer you got. I'll take just a moment in case anyone wants to share before I start working it out together. All right, so I'll go ahead and start solving the 3rd grade problem, and you can see if you got the same answer as me. So I'm going to start writing. I'm going to write in red. Hopefully everyone can see it. If you're not able to see what I'm writing, you're always welcome to comment in the chat and let me know. So for the 3rd grade math problem, we are working with comparison of numbers and subtraction. We're also working with comparison and addition for the 4th and 5th grade problems. So for the 3rd grade problem, I just circled it in red. Which sign makes the statement true? So in order to solve this problem, you've got to be comfortable with subtraction, and you have to remember your greater than, less than, and equal to symbols and what they mean. So before I pick a sign, I'm going to evaluate or solve the problem that they gave me. 1 compared to 5 minus 4. Well, 1 is pretty straightforward. It's just 1. 5 minus 4, you have to remember our subtraction and know that 5 take away 4 will leave us with 1. And if I'm comparing the left-hand side and the right-hand side, I have 1 and 1. 1 isn't greater than 1, so I'm going to cross that option out. 1 isn't less than 1, so I'm going to cross that option out as well. But we all know that 1 is equal to 1, so that was what we should pick. Did anyone pick that, or maybe solve it a different way? You can comment in the chat and let me know, or you can come off mute. All right, so I'm going to move on to the fourth grade problem, which is doing addition this time, slightly more challenging. I will give the answer in a different color. We'll do blue. So here, this is 4-digit addition. We're adding 5,190 and 7,527. And it will require us to do a little bit of regrouping, and you'll see when in just a moment. So we'll start with our ones place and then add up our tens, hundreds, and thousands place, okay? 0 plus 7 is just 7. 9 plus 2 is 11, so I'll have to regroup. I'll put a 1 in my tens place and carry it over the other 1 to my hundreds place. 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. And then I'm left with just my thousands place. 5 plus 7 is 12. Okay. Anyone get that or solve it a slightly different way? All right. Now we have one more addition problem. Oh, I see someone commented in the chat. Ezra got that. Awesome. Thank you, Ezra. All right. And now we'll do the addition problem. Now this is for fifth graders, but if you are in the second grade or third grade or in fourth grade, don't let the amount of numbers scare you or overwhelm you. We're going to do the exact same thing. We'll do our ones place, tens place, hundreds place, and our thousands place, 10,000s place, and 100,000s place. But I'm sure everyone on the call can get to the right answer. So we'll do the ones place first. That's 9 plus 2. 9, 10, 11, that adds up to 11. Going to carry over the extra 1. That's 1 plus 3 plus 0. 1 plus 3 plus 0 is 4. I don't have to carry anything over. And then it's 9 plus 4, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Put my 3 down, carry over my 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. And then we're left with 5 plus nothing and 7 plus nothing. That's a really, really big number, 756,341. Was anyone able to do that in your head? Or maybe this was your first time adding up numbers that big. See if anyone has anything in the chat. Okay. And you're always welcome to come off mute, because there's only a few of us on the call in case you want to answer. All right. So we're going to do about 10 more minutes of math before we take a quick break, and then we will do some reading together. So I'm going to clear off my drawings. You're welcome to copy down anything before I start erasing, and we'll move on to the next portion. Okay, so here again, we have 3 different problems, 3 different levels. This time you may notice it's a slightly different type of problem. We're doing division. On the left-hand side, we have problems for our kindergarten through third graders. In the middle, we have it for fourth graders. And then on the very right, we have a problem for our fifth graders who are on the call. So I'm going to stop talking and give everyone an opportunity to try one of the problems on the board. All right, and then you can give me a thumbs up or put a smiley face in the chat once you've had an opportunity to solve one of the problems. Okay, take about 10 more seconds to try it on your own, and then we'll do them together. All right, so you may have noticed every problem was related to division. And even if you haven't learned division yet, it's never too early to try it. So this first problem was asking us to fill in the blank. So we have a blank right here to describe the model. And model is just a fancy word for picture. In the model or the picture, there are 4 dots divided into 2 equal groups. And they ask us to tell them how many dots are in each group. So you'll see here's one group, here's a second group, and there are 2 dots in each group. So you could write a division problem that represents or symbolizes the model or picture. This picture is exactly the same as writing out 4 divided by 2. So if you haven't learned division in school yet, you can go back tomorrow and tell your teacher that you know how to do division because you just did it here with this picture. And then for our older students who are a little bit more comfortable with division, hopefully you can remember your 8 and 12 times tables. 8 divided by 4 is 2. That's the same as having 8 circles or 8 dots and dividing them into 4 groups. So let's say we had 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. And we put our 8 dots into the groups equally. That would leave us with 2 dots in each group. So if you're ever having trouble remembering one of the math facts, you can always make a model or picture to help you. And then for the last one, 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay. You all may have noticed that each of these math problems, they had different numbers, 4 and 2, 8 and 4, 12 and 6. But our division answer was 2 in each case. All right. I'll give everyone about 20 seconds to copy down some notes if this was new for you. And then we'll move on to one of our last math problems. All right. So this last math problem, I want everyone on the call to try it. Okay, it's a word problem, a bit of a riddle. Liz began at 10. She skip counted by 5s. Could she have said the number 60? So I'm going to give everyone a moment to try and figure out that riddle. All right, was anyone able to figure out the riddle? You can comment in the chat yes, and let me know what your answer is. Or you can come off mute if you want to share your answer. Okay, so I think the answer is yes, and I'll show you why I think so. And we'll see if we got the same answer the same way. So when skip counting, that's the same as adding 5. So when we count, we only say numbers that will result when we add 5. So I'm going to say 10. 10 plus 5 is 10. 15. 15, if I add 5, 15, 19, 20. 20, if we add 5, we'll get 25. If we add 5 more, we'll get 30. Let's see if we keep going, if we'll ever get the number 60. Up to 50, 55. 55 plus 5 is 60. So we would get to 60 if we started at 10 and we skip counted by 5s. All right. So I'll give everyone a moment, an opportunity to write that down. If you weren't able to get it the first time around, some of you may have been able to do it in your head because you learned how to skip count by 5s, 10s, or even 2s. All right, so I'm going to clear off all those drawings. And now, everyone will take a quick 5-minute break. You can run to the restroom, get something to drink, whatever you need. And then in 5 minutes, we'll come back and we'll do language arts. And then you will be done for the day and you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Okay, I'm going to stay right here, but I will stop sharing for just a moment. And then we'll start with the reading portion in 5 minutes. Hi. Hi there, Sydney. I'm glad you could make it. I'm glad Emery could make it and Ezra. I don't think you all have worked together before, but I've all worked with you individually. Take about 3 more minutes and then we'll get started on the language arts part. Take about 2 more minutes. All right, so we will go ahead and get started with the language arts reading part of today's session. Okay, so everyone, we have different reading levels here. Some people don't really like reading, some people really enjoy it, but this is a great opportunity for us to work together. Remember, you can take your time. If you're reading the passage and you don't recognize a word, write it down or type it in the chat. It's a great way to help you learn new words. I'm going to pull up the story that we'll work on together. Give me one moment. Okay, so this is a fantasy story, and they gave us a picture to help us out. I'm going to zoom in. I want everyone to take about 2 minutes to try and read the story on your own. Get as far as you can. If there are words that you don't recognize, type them in the chat and we'll talk about them together once everyone's had a chance to read it. So I'm going to stop talking so everyone can read. Take about 1 more minute, get as far as you can. All right, so what did y'all think of that story? You can comment or in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. and share anything you thought about the story. Was definitely an unexpected story based on the title and the picture. I was surprised by the ending. You may have noticed I highlighted some words in yellow that can be challenging or new to some students. I'll go ahead and read the story out loud and then we'll talk about the questions together. Letting go. I can't let you go, Opal. Riker threw his arm over his unicorn's back and shook his head miserably. You've been my guard and unicornia all my life. In 3 days, it will be Riker's 13th birthday, the time, according to tradition, for unicornians to give up their unicorns. Opal nudged Riker with her horn. If you let me go, I can help a new child, she said softly. Yes, but some teenagers refuse to let go, Riker said with a scowl. So why should I have to? Opal shook her silky blue mane. The decision is entirely up to you. But look how grown you are. Do you really still need me to give you courage? Riker frowned. Year after year, Opal had helped him face his fears. She'd helped him solve every problem, from neighborhood bullies to a leaky rowboat. Without Opal, he'd surely panic and mess up. All right, so I see someone commented something in the chat. I'm going to see what they said. Okay. So Ezra said, why did Riker have to give his unicorn up? Great question. I know if I had a unicorn that was helping me, I would not want to give it up. I think they mentioned why somewhere in the story. It may have been at the beginning. Let's see. I think it's right here. I'm highlighting it in pink. That's some important information. In 3 days, it would be Riker's 13th birthday. So he's going to be a teenager. The time, according to tradition, for unicornians to give up their unicorns. So Ezra, I'm so glad you pointed that out. That's important for us to remember. This is supposed to be a special time. It's his birthday, but he has to give up his unicorn. Now, there is a question for us to answer at the bottom, but before we get to it, I want to ask you all, why do you think he needs to give up his unicorn now that he's turning 13? You can type in the chat why you think he has to give it up, or come off mute and share your thoughts. Everyone, a couple more seconds to type in the chat or come off mute if they'd like to share. And it's okay if you're not comfortable. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the question that they have for us and give you all a little bit more time to think about my question for you. So I'm going to clear off the drawings, scroll down just a little bit. Oh, okay. So they have a question for us. I see someone typed in the chat. Okay, and that's fine. Sydney, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. I hope you can join us next time. Feel better soon. All right. We want to know, what do Riker's thoughts tell you about him? And they give us 4 options to pick from. He would rather spend time with animals than people. He has always hated celebrating his birthday. He does not have much confidence in himself. He feels ready to face the challenges of growing up. He's about to turn 13. He has to give up his unicorn. His unicorn has helped him throughout the years. And he doesn't want to give up the unicorn. Why do you think that is? So we have options A, B, C, and D. You're welcome to type in the chat the letter that you think fits the story that we read. All right, so before I tell you what I think the correct answer is, he feels ready to face the challenges of growing up. Okay, so we have one person who votes for option D. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anyone else who think it may be something different or you agree? All right, Ezra says he's about to be 13, and whoever gave him the unicorn will have to give him something else to help him. It was just for when he was a kid. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Ezra. So if you had to pick one of the options, A, B, C, or D, which would you pick? But that's great information to share with us, to remind us of. So we have one vote for D. I'll give people a little bit more time before they pick. I know we have Emery. It looks like he's still on the call. He's one of our younger students. Emery, did you like the story or did you not like the story? I see we have one person voting for D. So that's two people voting for D. All right. All right, so you all voted for D, so I'm going to click D. Give me one moment. He feels ready to face the challenges of growing up. So I'm going to click D and let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to submit it. Oh no. So it says, let me clear off this. It says the correct answer was actually C. He does not have much confidence in himself. Now, before I share your explanation, I want you all, Ezra, Jamie, Emery, to share why you think C may be the correct answer, because we didn't pick that the first time around. And you can type in the chat. And if you're not sure, you can also type not sure and we'll talk about it, because there was a specific detail that we may have overlooked. Give you about one more minute. I see someone type something in the chat. Okay. You're not sure, and that's fine if you're not sure. These are supposed to challenge us, so they'll be a little tricky. Okay, let's talk through the explanation together. because these type of questions will come up in a couple weeks when you take your end of year tests. All right. So their first tip was to read the story again. So I'm going to read the story again really quickly. I see one more chat. Oh, Emery's not sure either. So this is great. This means this is something we should all talk about. Okay, so I'm going to read the story one more time because we may have forgotten or overlooked some details. Okay, letting go. I can't let you go, Opal. Riker threw his arm over his unicorn's back and shook his head miserably. You've been my guard in Unicornia all my life. In 3 days, it would be Riker's 13th birthday. The time, according to tradition, for unicornians to give up their unicorns. Opal nudged Riker with her horn. If you let me go, I can help another child, she said softly. Yes, but some teenagers refuse to let go, Riker said with a scowl. So why should I have to? Opal shook her silky blue mane. The decision is entirely up to you. But look how grown you are. Do you really still need me to give you courage? Riker frowned. Year after year, Opal had helped him face his fears. She'd helped him solve every problem, from neighborhood bullies to a leaky rowboat. Without Opal, he'd surely panic and mess up. All right, now I'm going to go through and highlight some details that I think may help us. His very first words, I can't let you go, Opal. That sounds like he's a little sad or afraid. He shook his head miserably. Miserably means he's so sad and so hurt. You've been my guard in Unicornia all my life. So this is a really big change for him. All right. Down here he says, some teenagers refuse to let go. I don't think he wants to let go. He also scowled. That means you have a really, really scary frown on your face. You're not happy. He frowned. He's thinking about all the times his unicorn has helped him face his fears. He's been through a lot of problems. He's had bullies, a rowboat, and he thought he would panic and mess up. Now, these are some details I think we forgot the first time you read the story. It seems like he's not too happy, not too excited, and not too confident that he'll do well without his unicorn. Okay, and they told us that the correct option was actually C. He does not have much confidence in himself. All right. Do y'all think Riker will do well without his unicorn? Or do you think he should keep his unicorn a little bit longer? You can type in the chat or come off mute and tell me what you think. Ooh, so someone thinks he will be good to go. Awesome, awesome. I think he'll be good to go as well. He may be a little scared, but he's 13. He's getting old. I think he can trust himself. Does anyone think he needs to keep his unicorn a little bit longer? No, no. All right, all right. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have about 9 more minutes left. I think we have time for one more story. Ezra's not sure, and that's all right. That's all right. If I had a unicorn that was helping me out, I don't think I'd want to give it up either. All right. Got it? Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing for one moment so we can pick a different story, something a little bit different. Give me one moment. All right, so this is a slightly different exercise. Okay, and I think Emery is really going to like this one. Okay, so here they have details from a paragraph, and they want you to pick a main idea that ties all the details together. And this paragraph looks like it may be about tornadoes. So I'm going to give everyone a minute to try and read it on their own, and then I'll read it for us together, and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to stop talking and let you all work. All right, so it says, look at these details from a paragraph about the same topic. So we have 1, 2, 3 details, and they want us to choose the main idea that ties all the details together so they make sense. So the first detail, before a tornado, the sky may turn very dark and sometimes green. When a tornado is near, you may hear a loud, roaring sound that lasts a long time. And the third detail, there can be hail or very heavy rain before a tornado strikes. All right, so it looks like they're telling us some details about tornadoes. Let's see if we can choose the main idea that ties all the details together. The first option, there are some signs that show a tornado is coming. Seems like a good option. Heavy rain and hail can be signs of a tornado. Okay, that was one of the details they shared with us. As a tornado approaches, you may see a large cloud of dust. That doesn't seem like one of the details. What do you all think? What's the best main idea that ties all of these details together? All right. We have someone, they picked option 2, heavy rain and hail can be signs of a tornado. Okay. Thank you so much. Is there anyone who picks a different option for the main idea? Ezra picks option 1, okay. So we have one person who picks option 1, one person who picks option 2. All right. And I know Emery knows a whole bunch about tornadoes because we wrote a book about tornadoes together. All right, so it looks like it's a tie. I guess, should I be the tiebreaker? Oh, Emery thinks cloud of dust. Awesome, awesome. So everyone picks something different. And you have one person who thinks it's the first option, one person who thinks it's the second, and one person, Emery, who thinks it's the third. All right. They want us to choose the main idea. All right. Can someone share what a main idea is? You can type it in the chat or come off mute. All right. Don't see anything in the chat yet. Oh, have one. Oh, Ezra said the gist of something. Great, great, great definition. The main idea is the gist of something. It's also the summary of something. And in this case, we want to summarize all of the details that they gave us. They gave us 1, 2, 3 details. So we want to pick the main idea that summarizes all of those details. Option 2 is one of the details, but it doesn't tell us anything about the other details. Option 3 is kind of a random detail. We weren't talking about it up here. But option 1 says there are some signs that show a tornado is coming. One sign is the sky may turn green. You may hear a loud roaring, and there may be hail or heavy rain. All right? So the details that they gave us were all signs that a tornado is coming, things to look out for. And the main idea right here summarizes all of those signs. Okay, so I'm going to clear off my drawings. And I think I'll be the tiebreaker for this one and click the first option. And let's see if it's correct. All right. So that, I think we have about 2 more minutes left. I'll go ahead and let me stop sharing real quick. One more time. Okay. So you all did wonderful today. In the last 2 minutes, you're welcome to, you can leave the call or you can type in the chat anything that you learned in school last week or found confusing, and maybe we can talk about it before we wrap up the call. And if you're done, you are welcome to you can leave, exit, or close your laptop. But I'm so glad Emery, Ezra, and Jamie could join. We have one comment in the chat. Time. Oh, Emery's learning about time. Awesome. I bet you're doing great with that, Emery. Cool. We didn't talk about time today. Maybe we'll talk about time in one of our next sessions. All right. And Ezra's learning fractions. Awesome, awesome. Well, Emery and Ezra, thank you so much for joining today. And that's all that I have for you. I hope I can see you at next week's session, and I hope you have a wonderful week at school. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and end the meeting. And thank you again. Have a good weekend, y'all.